Moving on, let's talk about Mattress Running the Numbers. And this week's Mattress Running the Numbers is Marriott because Marriott has dropped a bomb on us.
They have. I mean, we knew it was coming,
We
that
did.
award charts were going away, but they've given us some information about which programs are going to be more, hotels are going to be more expensive.
Right. Exactly. And so we know a little bit more now about what that's going to look like. They gave us some information about what's going to happen in 2022. So in 2022, the rest of this year, most Marriott properties are not going to range beyond their current category bands. And what I mean by that is they will be somewhere between the off-peak and peak price based on the category they're in now. Now, keep in mind, those categories are going away entirely on March 29th. So it'll take 2 days for Marriott's computer system to completely eliminate the old categories. But between March 29th and March 30th, they will all go away. But properties, for the most part, are expected to remain between that, again, off peak and peak price based on their category level today for the rest of this year. Starting next year, the gloves are off and we don't know exactly what's going to happen. But that said, about 3% of the portfolio, 200 properties, are going to be potentially increasing by more than their current category bands. And so Marriott provided us a list of those 200 properties, some of which are going to increase by up to 5,000 points. Some will increase by up to 10,000 points, some 20, and some up to 30,000 points. Now, in that list is all of the properties that you could possibly expect to be in the list. Basically, every aspirational property that you've read about on a blog somewhere is probably on that list. And I mean, I say that somewhat facetiously, but it's pretty close to accurate that they're almost all increasing beyond their current award bands. Now, in a lot of cases, actually, it was not as bad as I expected. Like, for instance, the St. Regis in the Maldives, or Bora Bora, or Le Méridien, those types of properties, in Le Méridien, Maldives, the Gritty Palace in Venice, those places are slated to go up by 20,000 points per night. So that's obviously a big increase, but the cash rates at those places are so exorbitantly high that it doesn't feel quite as painful, even though it hurts. It hurts me, right, because I want to stay there. But
just to be clear, so you're talking about some top end, what are currently Category 8 properties, right, which at peak pricing today cost 100,000 points per night. So now you're saying they could cost at the top band. They could cost up to 120,000.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So 20%. I mean, that's certainly not insignificant. It's not necessarily out of line with what we've seen from Hyatt recently, though. Some properties going up by margins in that range. So 20%. I could probably live with at those top tier properties that often cost $1,500 or $2,000 per night. But what really surprised me was that there were a lot of properties in the list that aren't Category 8. I counted, I think, within the United States, I think it was 32 properties in like Fairfield Inn, Residence Inn, Spring Hill Suites, and Town Place Suites that are all scheduled to go up by either at least 10,000 or rather either up to 10,000 points per night or up to 20,000 points per night. So those properties are going to be going up a fair amount. And in many cases, those are properties that are currently 35,000 points per night standard. So now if they go up 20,000 points on top of the peak price, they might cost you as many as 60,000 points. That's a pretty big difference. But more importantly, that hurts for free night certificates because, as you know, we've been expecting that we'll be able to top off free night certificates with points starting in early 2022. We now know that's not going to happen until after the award chart is gone. So starting in April at some point, you'll be able to add up to 15,000 points to a free night certificate. Obviously not a coincidence that you can add up to 15,000 points, and a number of properties where you might want to use your 35K certificates will increase by up to 20,000 points. So that will put a lot of properties out of range of those 35,000 point free night certificates when there is high demand. Same is true for the 50K certificates and the Category 6 properties that you would have hoped to have used them on. So if you have those certificates look for uses now. Look for a chance to use those for outsized value now. And I'm sure that we'll analyze that a bit more in the coming week here. But you definitely want to try to use those to maximum advantage while you can. On the flip side, there's only 3% of the portfolio. So there's a lot of places where you may still be able to add points.
Right. Let's talk a bit about the ability to add up to 15,000 points to your free night certificate. We were told originally that that capability would be released early 2022.
Mm-hmm.
And so we hoped that we'd have that ability before the categories went away so that we could use our certificates, book those hotels before they lose the category bounds, and lock in those good deals. So should we do that?
Well, it'd be nice if you could, but
it would be nice.
But you can't, because it's going to happen after the award chart goes away. Yeah. So you're not going to have that opportunity. Though you'll be able to top off starting in April. Though, like I said, the nice thing is that I say nice thing. I mean, I'm looking for the positive points here because there's obviously a lot of negative. One positive point is that a large number of properties are not scheduled to increase beyond their current pricing bands. So anything, if you have a 35K free night certificate, the majority of properties within that 35K range, which is normally 30,000 off peak, 35,000 standard, 40,000 peak, those will still be within use of your free night certificate because they're not going to increase for the majority of properties, not going to increase by more than their current top tier band, top tier of their band, which is 40,000 points. And the next level up, which is currently 50,000 points standard and 40,000 off peak, will be within reach when they're not peak priced also, potentially. Though, unfortunately, certainly in April, you may see some of those 50,000 point properties suddenly cost 52,000 points so that you can't use your certificate. That would not shock anybody. So you probably won't get a chance to, really maximize that as much as you might hope, in the sense that the award chart will be gone by the time you're able to do it. But that's why I say look for an opportunity now. See if you can find a good opportunity now, because I think those certificates, we've said before, I think they're going to continue to be valuable after the award chart goes away. I think you're going to continue to get more than $85 a year in value out of,
I do too. And it's not unusual, at least in my case, for me to travel during off-peak times. And at those times when using hotel points or certificates, it's often a really bad deal because you see that the hotel you want to book is only $110 a night or whatever. And so why use a 35K certificate? You're getting terrible value for that. But now theoretically, during those off-peak times, you might be able to book a hotel that's even like a category 8 today with a lower level cert. And so we'll see if that falls out.
That's more likely to be true in 2023 because based on the wording, I expect that list of 200 properties are the only ones that are going to change by more than their current category bands. So for instance, a category 8 right now, even on the low end is 70,000 points, not going to be less than 70,000 points this year. In the future, they say that, they're going to work to make increases incremental and provide some times of year where you can get great value for your points still. I don't expect that will actually mean less than whatever the off-peak price is today. I think it'll be surprising, unless those, like you said, those situations where it's $100 a night, I don't know, maybe they will drop as time goes on and it becomes more and more dynamic. But for now, I was saying, I think those 35K certs will continue to be valuable. However, I think you're more likely to get like $150, $200 in value out of a free night certificate in the future, which is double your money. So that's not bad. If you want to get like $300 or $400 a night in value out of your certificate, though, I think you got to look to try to find a good use of it before the award chart goes away.
Yeah. All right. Very good.